Hello all, welcome to Success Channel. Today we are going to discuss about role of recovery department. So we have esteemed speaker, Mr. Rohit Salwan. He is having more than 18 years experience into litigation, non-litigation, core recovery of amounts due through legal means as well as as a recovery head. So let's start. Yeah, so Rohit would like to understand why banks and NBFCs require collection or a recovery department.
Yeah, so as we know, the banking or the financial institutions, NBFCs, they are into a lending business, and there are certain set of customer who does not, stick to the rescheduled payment plan. They do not pay or they do not honor their EMI as per the due dates or as per their as per it has been agreed by the terms of the loan agreements. So we call these customers as the delinquent customers. Obviously, these customers are not very financially disciplined. They are absolutely indisciplined guy in terms of their financial terms. It may be intentional also or intentional unintentional customers also. There may be customers who are circumstantial, may not be unintentional, but at the end of the day, yes, those are the customers which are not paying on the which are not paying the financial institutions or bank on the time. So in order to cater these sets of customer, we'll call it as a delinquent customers. So the business has a separate departments called collection or the recovery department, which supports the business in order to recover those kind of money from these sets of customers. So hence, we need the collection and the recovery departments to recover the dues from a delinquent customer on a timely basis. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to add to it, what I observed is that in big companies, like in manufacturing companies or financial services companies or any other companies where there are large number of vendors or customers, sometimes these guys also have a recovery department, and
Correct.
even legal department plays a role of kind of recovery department in these companies. Uh, by following the legal procedures, basically it's not like NBFCs or banks, but definitely they follow the procedure of law, but at the end of the day it's recovery, it's recovery through the legal means. So
Correct.
Rohit would like to understand what procedures these recovery department follows in NBFC or banks.
So these recovery departments or collection department, they works on a two parameters. One, they have an in-house team, and another, they have a outsourcing collections or the recovery agencies. So depending upon whatever the model they follow, either they'll the partly portfolio they'll keep it in-house, depending upon the ticket size or any other parameter which they decide, and partially and the part of the portfolio they will outsource to a collections and recovery agencies who have experience in the market in to recover money from a delinquent customers. So these are the two models which they basically follow, in-house and the typically a recovery or the collection agency. In-house counts in-house persons, the collection personnel, they are they're very well educated guys. In fact, nowadays the MBAs, or the the business graduates people or the graduate people, they are also joining collection departments, because collection department is not typically a department which we used to see a decade back or sometime. Because recovery nowadays, it is not possible by simply use of muscle power or using any unfair means. Obviously you need to have a literate guy who understand the collection, who understand the finances, who understand the the customer's perspective also. So those kind of people are actually required to recover money from from banking, financial, or manufacturing side. So yes, these are the basic models which they actually adopt, and they work on that in-house as well as the outsource model.
Right. And just to add to it, I guess even, only this legal or recovery team should not be working on recovery of amounts due. I guess the other departments like business team, marketing team, who are actually contacting other parties, the customers, right? They are daily interacting with these guys. So they should also get involved into recovery and, recovery of amounts due and litigation piece, because they know the customer, they know how the customer is going to perform. So basically these guys
Correct.
should
So
also help recovery and legal team to recover.
yeah, just to add to it, you rightly said, the stakeholder, the business or the marketing guy, who are the first touch point basis of these customers, because they are the people who have sourced the loan to these guys. So they have a primarily and very important feedback about the customers, which actually helps a customer or a recovery department to, to crack those kind of cases, to get a recovery from a customer, to know the behavior, what kind of profession he is into, and all those kinds of things, which really helps in collection and recovery departments. And these are the very handy and first hand information which is available, uh, available by the the stakeholder, the business which is actually sourcing these kind of loans. So yes, you are right, rightly said.
So, as you just quoted a few minutes back, now people are not using muscle power. And I guess if
Correct.
business team is helping the recovery and a legal team for recovery, then definitely we are going on a right track. Because then
Correct.
recovery team will have a business knowledge and business will have the recovery knowledge. So both of them
Ex-
together and with the help of legal team, definitely they will be able to recover that amount easily.
so rightly said, because the environment has been changed in the last decades or 2 decades. There are a lot of the RBI guidelines are there. There are a lot of judgments are there, which have actually completely transformed the the shape and the modalities of collections and recoveries also. And obviously good man the right kind of hiring of a manpower, right kind of hiring of a correction agency, recovery manpower is actually adding a fuel to it. Basically, it is giving a very good hands to a collection and recoveries, uh, so that it can recover in a very what do you call it, in a very legal and a very lawful means. So no muscle power needs to be used, and there is no requirement of muscle power. Actually, no muscle power will give you any time. It will not give you any recovery of any money. In fact, the people can land up in a legal trouble also. So
Right.
yes, you rightly said that. Yeah.
So I just remember one example here. One person, the customer, he was not repaying the amount back to NBFC. So we are making lot of follow-ups with him, with that particular guy for recovery of amount. Our entire recovery team was behind him. After that, we understood that one business guy was having very good relation with the particular businessman, and then we went through that particular business person. After a few negotiations, discussions, we understood his problem. He was actually fearing the kind of people we are sending to him, like recovery guys. The name is recovery team, so already he was under pressure. So basically, after this team went to him with the business guys, he softened his voice also. He actually in a mode, he was in a mode to discuss his problems with us. After a few deliberations, he was ready to pay that amount, on a settlement terms. Basically, we agreed few settlement terms with him. We settled that amount. So basically, business can play a very good role when it comes to recovery of amount due.
Correct. I agree. Approach is very important. With what mindset, with what approach we are approaching a customer in order to recover it. Obviously, every customer, be it a, circumstantial. I'm not talking about typically an intentional defaulters, but yes,
Right.
circumstantial defaulter, they still have a kind of ego with them. Ego, they still carry that kind of ego. They may not having a money, they may have a bad business today, but one point of time, their business were flourishing, and that's the reason the banks or the financial institution all has also lended him the money. But today he may be in a some temporary, some transitional trouble, maybe, where he's feeling financial crunches. So yes, maybe with a with a positive approach, with a positive mindset, if we'll approach him, we'll give him some some kind of settlement plan, some kind of structured payments. Maybe he'll agree to that also. Maybe some moratorium period for 1 month or two. Yes, he may agree to that effect also. But yes, again, that kind of discussion you only expect from a people who have a better better financial mindsets. With the muscle power doesn't
Right.
work here actually.
Right.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on a relation between legal team and recovery team? Most of the time, it
Look,
happens. There is a muscle tussle in between legal and recovery. So, what is
I
your?
think they are the the two sides of the same coin only. They can't work very separately, or in a, what do you call it, in a silos. They can't work. They have to work in a tandem, in a very coordination way. And that's the only way you can crack a case. Because there are, as we discuss, it's a chain reaction kind of thing. The business passed a first hand information to collection department, collection passed on that first hand information to the legal department, and legal department actually work like that only. So there are a lot of information which flows from collection to legal, and legal to collections also, because both departments depends on each other for a functioning. Because the correct address of the the customer, the behavior of the customer, asset of the customer, this is all, it's very much in the what do you call it, vicinity of the collection. But yes, the legal domain, how to use that information, what kind of application we need to file, what kind of recovery suit we need to find, what kind of means we need to adopt legally to secure our assets also. So all these need to be taken care by the legal, and if these two department doesn't work in tandem, doesn't work with very juxtaposed to each other, recovery and collection will never going to happen. I understand, they are a very different sphere, every different mindset, may not be understand different profession. May, both the department collection and legal may not understand the profession or nitty-gritty of their business. I understand it, sometimes that also happen, but still they have to work together in a tandem, so that a collection case or a recovery case can be resolved in a very, very better or in a coordinating way.
Right. What is your opinion on the companies, most of the companies thinks that the process of the legal procedures, the litigation should happen with the particular speed. They expect something which is beyond the capacity of the departments, like legal department. They want them to get a lot of summons, 1,000 summons, 2,000 summons, 5,000 summons in a day. So what is your view about it?
Look, I just said a minute before. Look, both may not understand the nitty gritty of the business of each other department. So what I believe is both departments should know each other very well, how collection works, how NPAs actually work, how one customer, flow from one delinquency to the other, how it will impact the collection department. If legal person knows all these nitty gritty, so maybe he will work with that sincerity also. He will put his best efforts, obviously, because there is an outside agency which is court, which needs to be, we need to depend on that.
Right.
There are external advocates, we need to depend on that. So we can only put our best efforts. I mean, legal department can put our best efforts on a best effort basis. With all honesty, they can put their effort, file application on time, follow with the advocates, and rest all depends upon the courts also. And similarly, the collection department should also have a basic training of how legal functions. If they know, they'll understand how court functions, how advocate function, what is the importance of documents, whether document has to be completely filled or not, all small thing. If they knows, so they will also understand what are the challenges and what are the pain area the legal have. If both are on a same plate, if they both are on a same platform, I don't think there will be any question of conflict between these two departments, and they will work absolutely what you call in a very, very smooth way.
Right. So
Yeah.
just for just for knowledge of all the people who are working in a recovery team, I just want to put one important point, which I
Yeah.
think each recovery department misses, is that they ask this legal team to wear a black coat and come with them for a recovery. So basically,
Yeah.
I guess this should not happen because in-house team is not a lawyer. They are not lawyer.
Yeah.
They are not holding any license. They can't wear the
Correct.
black coat. And again, they should not
Correct.
visit any customer with that black coat. Right.
Correct.
So
I understand. Most of the the financial institution banks adopt this practice. Maybe it looks good. Matlab it can come as an handy if you're actually meeting a corporate client, a big corporate giant where they have a very big. They have also hired a very battery of lawyers in order to meet them. Yes, there is no harm going them meeting that kind of going and attending that kind of meeting with the delinquent customer along with their battery of lawyer to understand the legal nitty-gritties. So I don't think it there is something wrong while attending those kind of meeting. But yes, at the same time, going in a ropes to a customer house, and it will make no difference, I'm telling you. this is not going to make any difference. If the customer needs to understand, he will understand a plain English or in a plain language. If you're able to make them understand, yes, I am from a legal department and these are the repercussions which may follow if you don't make the payment. If he'll be able to easily convince customer, it doesn't matter. He has to be very whatever ropes you wear, it doesn't make difference. He has to be presentable on that matter. He should be convincing to a customer. I think that makes a difference. So which customer you are meeting, what is the circumstance also actually depends, and which robes you should go in and which attire you should go and represent yourself. Yeah, that's what I feel actually.
And just to add here, some companies even want these in-house teams to present themselves as an advocate.
No,
And
that's a wrong practice. I
yes,
don't I
that's
don't buy, I don't advocate for that. Yeah.
so that's a very bad practice. And I think whoever is listening here, they should understand that in-house team is not a lawyers.
Correct,
No, they
correct.
are not team of lawyers,
Yeah,
and
it's a very bad practice. Yeah.
they should not do that at all. Okay?
No, you cannot impersonate yourself to any profession when you can't practice. You are a lawyer, you're a corporate lawyer, you are not an advocate, and people should understand the difference between a corporate lawyer and an advocate. As simple as that.
Definitely. So, Rohit would like to understand the legal and compliance framework for recovery of the amounts due.
Yeah. So, 2003 was the first time I think when RBI comes very handy, with a notification circular of a fair practice code. Actually, it's actually a composite kind of a circular, which applicable to the credit, to the sales, to the operation, to the customer care department, and to collections and recoveries also. So for the first time, RBI laid down a guidelines, no muscle power should be used, specific hour should be used by a collection team to to go and visit the customer. No harassment, privacy has to be followed, confidentiality of a customer needs to be respected. All those practices have been first time laid down in 2003, but it was very very niche stage. Nothing was much happening. An entire table turns in somewhere in the year 2003, 2007, I'm sorry, 2007, when Prakash Kaur versus ICIC case comes into picture within Supreme Court, which which actually laid down a very very detailed kind of procedure, what needs to be followed by a collection department, what kind of the process needs to be followed by a recovery department, what are the steps one needs to be taken while in order to secure asset by a company. All these things need to be very beautifully, very very descriptively laid down by the Supreme Court. And that was the case where first time Supreme Court said a due process of law has to be adopted by a finance company or a bankers while dealing with the delinquent customer in order to secure the assets. So that was the very first time when due process of law were the word which is first used by the Supreme Court. It was very adopted by the RBI's in subsequent when FPC has been modified after 2003. This 2007 judgment came, and after 2007, 2008, 2009, I think there are a lot of modifications. There are a lot of amendments which have been made in the Fair Practice Code, which is clearly laid down all the guidelines. All the finance company, all the bankers have been said the policy has to be Fair Practice Code policy has to be adopted by the board. The grievance cell has to be formed by the NBFC in order to cater any complaints from these kind of customer vis-a-vis a customer or recovery complaints. So these are the the historical, if you see the chronology which starts from Fair Practice Code to various judicial activism which you have seen in in many various judgments. But yes, the ICIC versus Prakash Kaur becomes the landmark judgment, and it becomes a complete 360-degree change for a recovery and collection departments also from that perspective. Recently also, and I was surprised, from 2007 to 2020, ARC has been kept aloof by the RBI for, and I don't know, for some reason from this FPC purview. And recently in July 2020, if I'm not wrong, during this pandemic, when the RBI have seen, there are a lot of pressure will be coming on a ARC kind of companies also, because of all this restructuring will happen, portfolio will be sold or by the been sold by the financial institution and by the ARC. A lot of pressure will be coming to the ARC. RBI have clearly foreseen. So in order to to settle down this kind of issues, what RBI has done is RBI has extended the same FPC to the ARC also for the first time. And I'm surprised, what do you call it, late than never kind of thing. So ARC has now also come under the purview of the FPC. They also have to follow the FPC through its core, be it hiring of a collection agent, repossession of SE assets, and the sale of the assets for that matter. All these kinds of the processes need to be adopted by ARC also, other than NBFCs and banks. So I think it's a welcome step from the RBI perspective, which put the entire recovery right from the bankers to the ARC on a same platter actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so Rohit, it was a great discussion on the
Yeah.
recovery of recovery team as well as legal department, and then we talked about business also, how they should contribute to a recovery and a legal team for recovery of amounts due. So it was a great
Yeah.
discussion. Thanks for joining Success Channel, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks.